Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about ARFID. What is it and how can we overcome it? But are you new to my channel? Welcome! I put out videos on Mondays and on Thursdays, so make sure you're subscribed and ring that bell, turn those notifications on so you don't miss out. But let's jump into this topic. ARFID, or Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder, used to be called Selective Eating Disorder. But the DSM changed it. When the DSM-5 came out, they called it ARFID instead. And while many children can go through a picky phase when it comes to what they want to eat, those with ARFID do not consume enough calories to develop or grow at the rate they're expected to. It can also cause issues for people at school or work because they will need more time to eat and can be unable to participate in situations that involve food. Now let's get into what criteria needs to be met in order for someone to be diagnosed with ARFID. Number one, an eating or feeding disturbance, either lack of interest in food or avoidance of food based on the sensory characteristics of it, like it's too soft or we don't like the texture of it. And this is shown in our inability to meet appropriate nutritional or energy needs associated with one or more of the following. The first, significant weight loss or failure to achieve expected weight gain and growth as a child. 2, significant nutritional deficiency. 3, dependence on a feeding tube or oral nutritional supplements. So if we can't meet our nutritional needs without having an NG tube put in or drinking like an Ensure or something, that could be part of our ARFID. And number 4, we must have a marked interference with our psychosocial functioning, meaning that we can't go to work or school or focus on our daily life, and our relationships can suffer as a result. Now the next criteria is that the disturbance is not better explained by lack of available food or by an associated culturally sanctioned practice, meaning like we're fasting for Ramadan, for example. And the next criteria is that the eating disorder does not occur exclusively during the course of anorexia nervosa or bulimia nervosa. And there is no evidence of a disturbance in the way in which one's body weight or shape is experienced. Now I want to pause there because this part is super important. The difference between this and other eating disorders is that with ARFID, we do not see ourselves as much heavier than we are or notice if we gain or lose weight. ARFID doesn't have anything to do with our appearance. And finally, the eating disorder is not due to a concurrent medical condition or not better explained by another mental disorder like OCD or another eating disorder, for example. When the eating disturbance occurs in the context of another condition or disorder, the severity of the eating disturbance must exceed what is routinely associated with that condition or disorder, and it must warrant extra attention. Now, while we all know that eating disorders can have many co-occurring issues, meaning that we can have more than one diagnosis happening at a time, they find high correlations between those with ARFID and autism spectrum disorder and anxiety disorders. And they also report that children who were very, very picky as children are more likely to develop ARFID. And as always, everyone is going to be different. When it comes to mental health issues, there are so many factors to consider. So before we go jump into any conclusions, please see a mental health professional, preferably one that specializes in eating disorders, and have them help you better understand what it is you're struggling with. Since ARFID is diagnosed because someone isn't getting proper nutrition, there are many behavioral and psychological signs and symptoms we can look out for in ourselves or in someone we love. And these symptoms can be things like dramatic weight loss, always stating that we feel sick to our stomach or having digestive issues. We'll wear multiple layers of clothing to keep warm because we're often underweight because we're not meeting the nutritional needs of our body. We'll always eat certain textures of food and avoid others. We will not be afraid of gaining or losing weight. We can have difficulty concentrating, have bad breath, dry skin, brittle nails, show a lot of hair loss. I could go on and on, but you get the idea. If we aren't giving our body the nutrients that it needs each and every day, our body will break down and it can be really uncomfortable, not to mention extremely dangerous. So please reach out for help if you are struggling with this. There is help available. But before deciding what treatment you'd like to try, it's important that you know what changes you want to see and what your overall goals are. For example, you could want to be more comfortable eating outside of your home or wanting to expand what foods you're okay eating. Since ARFID doesn't have the component of focus on weight loss or changing the way that our body looks, we can be more open to changing our eating disorder behaviors. And this can ensure that you get the right type of help when you need it. And here are some of the options just to help get you started. And the first is exposure therapy. Since much of what those with ARFID struggle with is a fear of maybe throwing up or getting sick or just worry about certain foods, kind of that anxiety portion of ARFID, slowly using visualizations or even actual exposure over time can help to combat the anxious thoughts. And for more information about exposure therapy, you can click the link down in the description for my video all about it. Number 2 is CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy. Because our belief that eating and certain foods will make us sick, or just that our overall anxiety about food makes it so difficult, if not impossible, for us to eat, working to figure out what those falsely held beliefs are and work to correct them, meaning that we can target the thought processes that prevent us from eating a well-rounded diet and work to change them to be more inclusive of all foods. And the third option is DBT, or dialectical behavior therapy. Since much of what holds us back from eating all foods is that we become so overwhelmed by worry and upset that we feel completely unable to eat. DBT can help us manage all that we're feeling using the mindfulness techniques, emotion regulation, and distress tolerance skills. That way, we're better able to act out of our wise mind when trying to eat properly. And the fourth option is intensive outpatient or inpatient treatment with groups, one-on-one therapy, supported meals, etc. Because if seeing a therapist once or twice a week isn't enough, there are other programs that offer more support as well as group therapy. And this can help us get more hours of professional help and help push us through those really tough parts of recovery. Just remember that everyone is going to be different. You may only struggle with the anxiety component, or possibly only the fear of certain foods. Whatever it may be, finding the right treatment and therapist to work with is key, because it can and will get better. This video has been brought to you by the Kenyans on Patreon. If you would like to support the creation of these mental health videos, click the link in the description and check it out. But as always, what are your thoughts on this? Do you struggle with ARFID? What treatment was best for you? Please share in those comments down below, and we will keep working together towards a healthy mind and a healthy body. And I will see you next time. Bye.